Hello all, today I thought we'd have a little look at making a lovely bright pink and white card, and this one has a few hints of silver in with it as well. Now to begin with, I've taken a piece of baby pink foundations card and I'm actually going to bring in my sparkle glaze. Now we're going to be using one of the brand new sparkle glazes that I've designed with Cosmic Shimmer. Today we're going to be looking at the Blush Rose Dust. Now, if you've not seen these already, these are brand new and they are a glaze that is chocked full of iridescent glitter. So we can use these with our stencils. It's water-based, so we can paint with it if we would like to. And we can also do as I'm doing here, which is bring it out and put it down onto our cardstock. And then I'm going to use a brayer. Now, this could be any old type of brayer, but we're going to use a brayer and we're going to go across the top of the card. And this is going to smooth it out and give us our very own glitter card. Now what's quite nice for this one is because I'm using the pink on top of the pink, as such we're building up that shade and we're giving a really lovely intense finish. If you haven't seen much about the Fairy Wishes collection, which is when the Sparkle Glaze is launched, do go have a little look at the launch video on YouTube that shows you all of the different dyes and all 6 colours of the sparkle glazes, and I do a little demo on there as well showing you how you can mix the sparkle glazes to create some very cool backgrounds. Now, as I mentioned in that video, when this product goes on, we've got to wait for the cloudiness of the texture paste to set, and then you will end up with a really lovely sparkly glittery finish. So I'm going to pop this one side and I'm going to leave that to dry. That will probably take about half an hour-ish for it to set, and then you may choose to add on another coat. But if you don't, this is what you're going to end up with. This is your first level of that sparkle glaze being placed across your cardstock. And it gives a really nice encapsulated glittery feel. And we know that it's going to be non-shed because it's going to be held there within our texture paste. And it can be a really nice way to actually take one shade of card and use it in multiple places throughout your card, because we're going to be using the plain colour or the flat foundations card in several of our layers and building up with the glitter card to actually like accentuate and give a bit more sparkle. Now I'm going to be using the Deckled Edge Blossom die, and I thought it might be nice for us to just show you one of those cutting, because sometimes you might imagine if we've put our paste on here, we might not be able to cut through it as cleanly or as crisply. But the good bit is the glaze is quite thin once we've braided it down. Even if we applied it quite thickly, it does actually have quite a lot of movement to it, and you can still cut through it. But certainly in this thinner format of being braided, we should have no problem in cutting out that flower. And as you can see, our flower has come out perfectly. Now, if I can just find my tweezers, we'll give that a little poke out there. And we have got our very first layer to our glittery flowers. Now, I'm hoping you can pick up the glitter here. It's never easy on a camera trying to get glitz to shine through, but it is a really lovely encapsulated, subtle glitter finish that looks beautiful. Now, as I mentioned, I'm using the Deckled Edge Blossoms. This is one of the new dies that have just come out under my Fairy Wishes collection. There's actually 7 dies in here. So you've got these lovely big branches which are connected, and I've given them to you in the left and the right formation, so you can build them into corner elements, borders, all sorts of different patterns. Then you've got your different flower heads, and you're going to notice that every one of them, each petal is slightly different shaped, so when we come to building them together, you can create some really unique looking flowers. Now, I know I've gone on about this before, but when it comes to shaping our flowers, today all I'm going to be doing is taking a bone folder and rounding each of the petals. So you just hold at the base and round to create, then give a little bit of a form up and you've got the first layer ready. You can then start offsetting the next sizes down or the same size, depending on the style of flower you'd like to make. Another one of my little tips I love to give you with flowers is to bring in your tweezers. And you can do this a couple of ways. You can form them up to create like a V. You can form them down, which also looks quite cool. That'll give you quite a 3D flower when you do that, because there's quite a lot of height to these, which can be quite nice. Or one of my other favourites is to actually take the tweezers and just walk them along the edge, just sort of teasing them back and forth, adding in a very cool deckly sort of style finish to them. And it will give you like a crisp side to it, which is quite nice, like a ridged crisp is what I mean here. It can look really lovely. And again, if you do that to all of your layers and build them up, that will look nice. But many ways in which you can decorate these. I've gone ahead and just shaped mine, actually using a foam mat and an embossing tool. Again, another way in which you can do these. and I've made 3 of them in different sizes with the glitz and the glam on there. I've of course gone ahead and put some little silver gems in there too, just to top them off, because I wanted to highlight the glitter and match in with a silver mirror card that I'll be sharing with you shortly in one of the layers. Now onto our layers, let's have a little chat about those. We're going to be using 2 dies which come out a little while ago from my collections. We have got, excuse the board, but these are the boards I keep them on, so I thought I'd bring them in and share them with you. This is our, oh, I've got it the wrong way around. This is our butterfly frame, or butterfly and flowers frame I believe, and our oval love heart frame. I'll pop up little pictures so you can see the actual dies themselves in their packets, but this is what we're looking at. And this is good because it shows you how we can interchange them, and I think we often overlook this. What I mean by interchanging, although they are 2 separate die sets, I designed them in such a way that you could bring in different layers from each of the sets and mix and match them to create some really cool backgrounds. So maybe you wish to use the decal edge, which comes with the oval love heart, the pierced edge from the same set, then maybe swapping over to the butterfly flower frame, bringing in that main panel. Then we can go back to our oval love heart frame and we can bring in the decal oval to go in the centre there. Or maybe you would prefer to stick to the scallop, or maybe you'd like to use both. You absolutely can do. Then for the middle picture, it's down to you. You could bring in the oval hearts, which goes in the centre there, or we could actually bring in the butterfly and put that in there instead if you'd like to. So it's all down to which dies you would like to work with, but it pretty much all interchanges. So again, we could take these parts out, we could put the flower in there, and we could bring in this really lovely dramatic swirly frame and pop that down there instead. And you could end up with a beautiful panel with that butterfly stuck in the middle there. Or of course, we can cut that out and we can have that as an aperture and put photos, journaling, all different bits and bobs on the inside. So just so you can see where them pieces come from, because I think it's quite important sometimes that we know which dies are responsible for which layers, and actually the different ways in which we can interchange them and layer them up. So 2 different die sets, both available already, not part of the Fairy Wishes collection, but I really do try and make it so my dies and designs all work together. So for this one, I've of course used the scallop edge, which comes with the butterfly and flower frame, and in the middle of it I've used the oval heart frame or panel to actually cut out, and then that I've left solid so I've got somewhere to build up and place the fairy on top of. To go behind this, I've brought in just the decal edge and the pierced edge from the oval heart frame, and I've left that one as a solid. So we're going to bring this one in and we're going to glue it down on top of there. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, and I hope you have, you'll probably know by now that I love our Cosmic Shimmer Dry Clear Glue, especially when I'm gluing down die cuts like this, because even if I get a little bit that comes around the edges, it's not the end of the world. It will dry clear and you won't know it's there. And as I'm quite a messy crafter, anything that's going to hide my imperfections works great for me. But I do decant it into these little bottles. These are our woodware bottles. The code for these, I know that off by heart, is WW2916. And you'll find these, of course, on the website if you would like to get hold of them. But they are great little ultrafine bottles to decant your glue into. And then you can go in and get into all the nooks and crannies of your die cut and not have to worry that you're going to get glue in other areas or end up with big blobs. So we're going to add in a few more pieces just around this. We really want to anchor this down. We don't want any of these bits and bobs lifting up. We want it to be nice and flat on the panel. We're then going to bring that in and we're going to place that down, and we're going to cover up a bit of that pierced edge, but that's not a problem. It's nice to have that down there, and nice to keep that decal edge running around the sides. If there's anywhere that we've missed that glue, we can always lift it slightly and add a little bit under there, but I think we're good. We're going to take off the foam tape that I've already put on the reverse here, and I've used our 3mm woodware foam tape. And if you've not been following our foam tape, we do it in 1mm, 2mm, 3mm, and it comes in white, and there's also one in black as well, which can be quite handy depending on what you're working with, what colours you're working with. So we're going to add that onto our white layer, just building that one up. And then we're going to bring in our card, and we're going to start at the back and work forward. So we're going to use the baby pink foundations card I mentioned, and this is going to be our first layer because we want that to coordinate through, and we know that we're going to have that under the frame with the decal edge like we just created. So we're going to place that down, check we've got our card the right way up before I make it the wrong way. The amount of cards I make on videos and on TV, the wrong way round isn't even funny. Even all these years on, I still make half of them the wrong way. So add on the white layer next, just so we've got that nice baby pink frame running around the side. Then we're going to bring in the panel that we've just been building. We'll take the foam tape off. Oh, no, we're not, sorry. Lying to you. We're going to bring in some silver mirror card and we're going to place that down with some foam tape. There, I covered it up, thought I'd got the next one, but here we are. We're now going to bring in the panel we created. And the silver mirror card is just there to match in with the little gems that we've added into the flowers. And then we can place that down onto the silver mirror, just giving us that nice little silver edge, a little bit of reflection, nothing too heavy. Now with this card, of course, we could choose which direction we would like it to be in. So the original one was done as a landscape. We could choose if we'd prefer to go for a portrait, but I think because of the direction of our fairy, we will stick with this one being in a landscape position. Now, our fairy. You've possibly heard me introduce our fairies before, so I won't bore you too much with it. There is lots of them, or 3 of them, and a 4th original, but this is Fluttering Ivy, and you may know that I've named this one after my nan. She has 4 dies in the set. There's all different components within them dies, giving you different butterflies, the wand, the little flourishes, and of course our birthday wishes sentiment. I've cut Ivy out of the same card using the same sparkle glaze over the top of it. So she's got a bit of a shimmer going on there, a little bit of a sparkle. And I've added one of the butterflies onto her hand already, just for speed. I've then added foam tape to the reverse that we're going to peel away. And we're going to place Ivy just slightly off the middle here. We're going to put some flowers behind her, but we don't want her to be too far in the middle. What's quite nice is Ivy's skirt or dress sort of follows round on the same style of angle as the oval does, which is quite nice. And with the wings, we can go in and give these a little bit of a push up in the air if we want to create more of a 3D effect. You can, of course, also double layer the fairies, and then you've got them 2 sets of wings that give a bit more dimension, but that's up to you if you'd like to add in another one. Now then, onto our leaves. So our leaves again come in within the Deckled Blossom set. And we've got our 3 flowers, we've got our leaves. I've got a little one here that I've actually taken off the top because I knew I didn't want it to be too heavy. And we're going to bring this one in first of all, and we're going to place this one underneath our fairy. So it looks like she's sort of sitting on a little bit of foliage as well. And then we're going to bring another one of the branches in, and we're going to place that one going up onto the side, just behind her wings. So it looks like she's got a nice comfy seat. We're then going to add some of our dry as clear glue onto the larger flower, and we're going to post that one down first of all. We're going to bring in the smaller one, and this is again quite a good bit with dry as clear glue. It takes a second to set, so we can move these around slightly if we need to. We're then going to bring in 2 branches because we've got quite a big opening space up here, but I only have 1 flower. So we're going to use 2 branches to give in more of that sort of fill-in effect. But again, we don't want to fill up too much of the back frame. We're just going to give these a bit of a tease so they're slightly more 3D. And we're going to bring in that glue again. And we're going to overlap them slightly because I've only got 1 flower to cover up the join. So I don't want to leave the gap too big so that we see too much of the base of the leaves. And then I'm going to bring in that flower head and we're going to place that one down on top there. Now, if you'd prefer, you could add in some sentiments in here or some other decorations. I'm going to go for a couple of the little butterflies which actually come with Ivy. These are the ones that are cut out in that little set of dies. And we're going to place these just going up, flying away as if they've come to say hello to Ivy. And we'll place them into the air. Now, as I've mentioned already, the Fairy Wishes collection is, of course, now available, and you can find it at all good Creative Expression stockists, but just ask them if they haven't got it, and I'm sure they can order it for you. I will warn you that an awful lot of the items have already started selling out quite quickly, so you might have to do a little bit of searching to find them, but it's a grand collection and you're going to have a lot of fun playing around with the stencils, the glazes and all the different dies. And as I mentioned earlier, do check out the launch video where I share with you about 50 different samples and take you through all of the different products so you can see the whole collection. But I hope this little card gives you a little bit of inspiration on how you could be playing with this collection. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.